All right, so we are talking about some Chelsea news today. We're going to be talking about contracts with three players that could possibly be on their way out by the end of this season, which really would be quite shocking if all three of these players were to leave. Now, those three players happen to be Mason Mount, which again is quite shocking, Conte, and Kovacic. Now let's start with Mason Mount because I think this is the hot topic because this player 2 seasons ago was one of the best players at this club, has almost fallen off a cliff since then though, which is quite a bit of a shame. And the reason why we may lose him this summer is because right now he's only making $70,000 a week, which obviously for you and me is still quite a bit of money, but for a footballer, that is fairly low for the caliber player that he is. Now he's looking at all his other teammates from the England squad and thinking, I should be getting paid about the same, which does make sense. Reece James on the same team at Chelsea makes about $200K a week, where I could see us paying that amount, but I'm not too sure if he wants more than that because players that play similar roles in him, like Grealish, Saka, Sterling, all these players are making at least 300 or close to 300 per week, and I don't think Mason Mount is a caliber player to be being paid that much, especially at Chelsea, because Todd Boehly wants to make a contract for multiple seasons, about 6 or 7 seasons. So again, if we're keeping him at 300,000 for that long a period, things could definitely happen. Picks up an injury, or again, he keeps tailing off the way he has been lately. Now we're stuck with a player with high wages just sitting on our bench, not doing anything, which I would hope that wouldn't happen for Mason Mount, but again, that could be a possibility. So we do need to figure out how this is going to work, because if we do not, definitely other clubs in the Premier League will come out and try to buy this player, and they will easily offer 200 to 250 for this player and not even think about it, because he is worth that. I just don't think 300, because that seems a little bit too high. But again, we need to work with this player. I would hate to see him go to Liverpool, Tottenham, Manchester United. It would just be a weird sensation to watch a guy who went through this system and then all of a sudden we just get rid of him at such a young age. But we will see what happens with him. Now, the next two people we're going to talk about, Conte and Kovacic, this one gets very, very tricky because of our midfield situation and who we've already brought in and who we may bring in this summer. Now, let's start with Kovacic first. Now, Kovacic still has a year left on his contract. So again, he may not be gone this summer, but if he does not do anything, he would then be able to leave for free the following year, which we would hate to see happen. We saw it happen with Rudiger last season. We'd hate to see it happen with Kovacic, who obviously is a great midfielder who could easily get us some type of payment if we were to sell him by the end of this season, because he has still 1 year left on his contract. If we're able to renew him, that would be great. I think he's a player that definitely deserves a renewal at the club as well from what he's done. Yes, he's obviously had some injuries for the last couple of seasons. I think he's missed about 34, 40 games since 2018, but still, he hasn't had a major injury like some of our other players who, again, have been picking up injuries left and right. And therefore, again, I hope that we can keep this player. But if we bring in other players during the summer, it makes total sense for us to sell this player because, like I said, if we bring in Declan Rice or someone else, I know we're not bringing Jude Bellingham, but someone of that caliber in, then Kovacic would most likely have to leave because it would not make sense to keep a player for one more season and not get anything for him. So I'm still up in the air on Kovacic, but I would hope we could keep him. The last player is Conte. It came out today that he is going to look for a 3+1 contract, which seems idiotic for Chelsea to even think about doing that. Now, I know we've talked about how Conte is a great player and deserves an extension at Chelsea, but 3+1, so 4 seasons for a player who's been riddled with injuries multiple seasons. I don't even know the last time he's actually played a match for Chelsea, and I would hate for us to do such a long contract. Kind of the same thing with Mason Mount, because we already know he's picked up a lot of injuries. We may not get the player that we once signed way back when, who won us the league, won us the Champions League, obviously. And therefore, again, it makes sense for us to do a 2+1, because if we do a 2+1, that gives us a little leeway because, again, we're trying to get him fully fit to come back this season yet. But if we can at least get him going next season and hopefully get another season out of him. And then we can kind of see where we're at from there, because if nothing works out for him, then we can sell him or get rid of him. Whereas if it's 3 years, that's, again, same thing. We have more players on our books each and every week who are not contributing to us playing each and every week. And therefore, again, it would be difficult for us to do that. So again, it would make sense for us to sell him if we cannot come up with that. Now, I know, again, Conte is one of the best midfielders in the entire world when he's fully fit. But again, he has not been fully fit for quite some time. So again, it makes sense if we cannot negotiate a 2+1 for this player or bringing his wages down quite a bit, that would make sense for us to sell that player. So that is what we have today in the Chelsea news on 3 transfer players. I want to know what you guys think. So comment down below on these 3 players, who you think we should keep, sell, or again, we should negotiate different prices for them. I want to know what you guys think, and I'll get to your comments as soon as I can. So that is it, and I will see you in our next video.